Okay, welcome back to Raising Regulated. Let's talk about how to do bedtime without struggles and tears. I'm also going to demonstrate it by taking you through a live example of our routine because I think it will help to see it in action. And follow along with the free printable walkthrough in the description box below. All right, let's get into it. When we moved overseas, Penny's bedtime routine started to fall apart with pushback and tears and stalling. And now it's the calmest part of our day because we do the same routine, the same flow every single night. I'm going to show you the exact routine we follow for our 4-year-old, and you're going to see why it works. Also understand that we have adjusted Penny's bedtime routine several times as needed over the different phases of her life. The point isn't to follow our routine exactly, it's to incorporate these fundamental elements into a routine that works best for your family. The key elements that make a solid routine are: you must fill the love tank before the wind down begins. It needs to be repeatable. It needs to be predictable. You need to do it consistently. You need separate locations, ideally, for the different parts of the routine. And you need to remind them of the routine throughout the day, especially if your family is new to routines. Okay, let's see this routine in action. We'll start with, why does the hour before dinner actually matter? When kids are disconnected or overstimulated before dinner, then bedtime becomes a struggle. So the first part of our routine actually starts way before we even say it's bedtime. We fill her connection/love tank before dinner, and we always make time for play during that hour. And the type of play will vary from day to day. It depends on what she is lacking on that specific day. So does she need more outdoor time? Does she need more one-on-one time? Or does she need more quiet time? This prevents pushback later because now her nervous system has exactly what it needs. So why is dinner a part of our bedtime routine? Family dinner is our bridge into wind down. There's no rushing, there's no screens, there's no chaos, nothing to really do but enjoy. We start with a few prayers and food gratitude, and then we move on to 15 minutes of silence, kind of quiet eating. And we do this at the start of each meal to just help everyone down-regulate their nervous system and kind of settle into the new rhythm, which is calm. And you'll notice we have a little timer on the table, and this keeps her from stalling and keeps her moving and ensures that we're not postponing the next step of our routine. Kids need predictability more than commands. Most bedtime battles happen because the parent is announcing sleep. It's time for bed instead of just leading into it. At no point do we tell her, okay, now you need to start getting ready for bed. We just move from one part of the routine smoothly into the next one. We never jump from play to pajamas. We follow the same order each time so her brain knows exactly what to expect. So here you see us brushing teeth at the table. This was a choice we made about a year ago because it is something that we have to do, and sometimes she would feel that pressure at the very end of the night as the last thing leading into her room was something she had to do. So we started to get a lot of pushback. So we moved it forward, so now we do it at the table. And always be on the lookout for little strategic moves that you can make that work better for your family. We have a few of these and they make all the difference. So before she goes on to read with her dad, I'm always sure to take a few moments of just one-on-one time right here on the couch, just love and cuddles and connection, making sure that she feels my presence, that I'm filling up that tank. I don't want her to go to bed at night feeling like she didn't get enough mommy time, which of course I'm with her a lot throughout the day, but it's just that focused attention that really, really makes a big difference. So the next step is reading. Why don't we read in her room? This is a big one. Another decision that we made after a lot of trial and error, and it helped tremendously. Reading is always in the exact same spot outside of her bedroom. Her room is for sleep or for independent play, and when we were reading in there, it started to blur the line of what is put down and what is play, and she would get confused when all of a sudden the put down was over. So taking her out of that space and giving her a new designated space really helped everything. This boundary really helped prevent just the arguing and the stalling and just wandering around her room doing all kinds of things. And also having her in this separate room reinforces the idea that we are following a sequence. So she knows that after each part of the routine, we move on to the next spot. This prevents all of the steps of the bedtime routine from blending together in the same location and then all of the time passing without them realizing. And then it's already time to say goodbye. So it's been a key factor for us separating into a sequence of steps in different locations. That's made a big difference. And now for the moment of truth. Once we walk into her room, there's no more negotiating. By the time we walk in here, she knows exactly what's gonna happen. Lights, bed, tuck-in sequence, which is one goodbye, and then we leave. So if we have filled her love tank, stayed regulated ourselves, and reminded her of the bedtime routine, then this should go smoothly. So here you see me, I'm tucking her in. She is aware of the camera, so I'm trying to keep her on track. Typically we don't do any talking at this point. So I'm giving her her kiss. And here you hear her asking for what technique, what's my best technique. She's asking for how can she stay regulated once we leave. And that's gonna be her deep breathing. So we move on to 3 deep breaths, and then we do a long om, and then I gently try to leave the room. Woohoo, we had success. And now what do we do if she starts crying? If she starts crying, we don't panic and we don't restart the routine. We let her cry or whine or complain for 5 minutes, trying to teach her how to self-regulate. After that 5 minutes, we go back in, one of us will go back in, and there's no talking. We're just reassuring her with our presence and more breathing, showing her that, we're right here and we respond, if you need us, and then we leave again. And if needed, we will repeat that. She is basically, I think, just crying out to see if she has the control to bring us back, which she does at 5 minutes, but we don't give her anything else. There's no new entertainment, there's nothing left. It's just some deep breaths and another kiss. So she kind of lets it go after once or twice. All right, there you have it. The reason this works isn't magic. It's predictable, it's repeatable, and it's rooted in connection before correction. Kids don't fight the routine when their body knows what's coming. If bedtime is chaotic in your house, start by trying to implement some of the key elements that create a solid foundation, and then try copying some of the things that we do. Also check the free printable in the description box below. It's always helpful to help guide you along. And then if you found value in this video, can you please like and subscribe, and then check back because I post intentional parenting strategies each week. And remember, intention changes everything. You just have to give it a shot. Okay, bye.